Perdita and Pongo make a great team. Nala and Simba make the savannah steam. But when it comes to teaching kids how to build a stable relationship, Marion and Robin merit highest esteem. Why? Because the film's writers worked hard to make sure these foxes have it all figured out. The 1973 animated film Robin Hood introduced us to Disney's foxiest couple. As refugees from a cancelled Renard project, they came into their own in a setting borrowed from what is one of England's most iconic legends. While the film itself is a classic, we're here to consider an often overlooked aspect of the story. Are Robin and Maid Marian actually Disney's best role models when it comes to love and relationships? And that, fair ladies and gents, is culturally effed. According to the film, Robin and Marian were friends growing up, eventually falling in love before several years apart. The story starts with them still love-struck, Marian having returned from London but is unable to make contact with the heroic outlaw. And here we find the first way Robin and Marian show us what a good relationship looks like. They don't take each other's love for granted. Both of our pining vulpines say they would respect it if the other had moved on.
Oh, I've been away so long. What if he's forgotten all about me?
You don't just walk up to a girl, hand her a bouquet and say, "Hey, remember me? We were kids together. Will you marry me?" No, it just isn't done that way.
They understand that love isn't a static bond that lasts without maintenance, but is instead a constant collaboration. Moreover, each holds the other to the same standards. This kind of gender equality isn't often the norm in literary romances. Other classic Disney tales hold male and female characters to vastly different standards. Imagine a gender-flipped Lady and the Tramp. If Lady had been the one with countless lovers and no social status, would killing a rat be enough to restore her honor? Tramp gets away with far more than Lady would ever be allowed to. Another thing to note here is that our foxes are old flames. Writers joke that there are only two romance plots. The first is they meet, they fall in love, and the story keeps them apart. The second is they meet and they hate each other, and the story forces them together until they fall in love. Of course, other plots exist, but these are the easiest to write. Characters with a history, like Robin and Marian, require more nuance and thought to write. Too often, stories present love as a box to be checked, a signifier that the main character is someone we now have society's permission to admire. Stories exist to serve their cultures, to pass on their values, and everybody wants to be worthy of love. In reality, of course, you can be a really great person and yet not have life automatically assign you a mate. What's more, Robin doesn't automatically get the girl for completing an unrelated quest or sorting out his life. Marian's not presented as a reward. She's his longtime friend. From the setup we're given, we could easily believe they'd take steps to protect each other even if they weren't in love. Pow! Love at first sight. The coup de foudre that sets your fur on end and your heart aflame. Audiences have been primed for centuries to excuse this storytelling shortcut. As adults, we know this rarely happens in real life. But when you're a child just learning about romance, being told constant tales of love at first sight trains you to think relationships are based on looks. Pongo and Perdita go this route in 101 Dalmatians. They might be a power couple once they're together, but Perdita almost has zero involvement in starting their relationship. Pongo decides they should hook up, then takes unilateral action to make it happen. Perdita is perfectly willing to reject him until their humans bond over falling in a pond. Another shortcut is to have your love interest fall in love for the hero simply because they're the main character. The couple, having bonded during high-stakes events of the plot, hook up. Robin Hood takes a different path. The Foxes have a basis for a relationship outside the high adrenaline context of a modern action movie. They were friends growing up. Their history teaches kids it's okay to base a relationship around long-term companionship instead of only physical attractiveness. As an added bonus, Robin and Marian is a cross-gender friendship, which we don't see a ton of in media. Sitcoms often make a joke out of how men and women couldn't possibly be friends. In real life, men and women have non-sexual connections all the time. Cute as they are together, the rescuers, Bernard and Bianca, could never be said to be friends and equals. He puts her on a pedestal, referring to her as Miss Bianca, even when he's proposing to her. He also doesn't know where he stands on the relationship and is too timid to ask, instead wondering if she'd dump him for a suave kangaroo mouse. For her part, neither rescuer's film gives us any idea of how Bianca feels about him. She treats him with the same polite flirtation as everyone else. She's happy to marry him in the end, but it falls a bit flat because we don't get any build-up for her liking him. In real life, both people in a relationship should be pretty clear about how they feel prior to getting hitched. Marion and Robin are barely on screen together for a few seconds before reaffirming their love out loud. By adding one more layer of complexity to their backstories, the film's writers demonstrate that the best romances are also friendships. Marion and Robin both talk to friends about how they feel, specifically older and wiser friends. Opening up about your feelings makes you vulnerable, but it's an important step in talking through how you feel about a potential romantic partner. For young boys in particular, Robin is a rare example of a male character who not only talks about his feelings, but openly worries he's not good enough. Quite different from the stoic self-sufficiency that so many other stories demand of boys. For their part, both these friends provide the love-struck foxes with support and encouragement, since they see the relationship as a good thing. Little John might rib Robin about daydreaming of Marion, but always with the goal of getting him to communicate and act on his feelings, rather than to mock him for his sensitivity. Little John tries to keep Robin from doing anything too dangerous under the influence of love, with mixed results. Lady Cluck likewise tells Marion that love's a natural and positive part of life and reassures her charge that Robin likely returns her affections. In the stories of our own lives, we are not always the ones falling in love. Sometimes our friends are the ones mooning over some crush. These interactions give viewers an idea of how to behave when their own friends want to discuss their love lives. According to the film, you should handle your friends gently when they're in love and should encourage them to be honest about their affections. Neither of them are terribly concerned with fitting their gender stereotype. Robin isn't a domineering macho man or a scowling square-jawed brute. Marion's neither a chesty bimbo nor a wilting flower. Just going by the character design, there's not a lot of sexual dimorphism in these foxes. An unmarried noblewoman, Marion's clothing is elegant enough to impress, while still practical enough running around or engaging in pitched battle. And while not dressed provocatively, she's certainly drawn attractively. Though the audience is meant to see her as beautiful, she's also not exactly curvaceous. She basically looks like Robin, but with a smaller muzzle and
long eyelashes.
On a similar note, Robin's mini-skirt tunic might be well ventilated, but it's not the most manliest of garments. While it's certainly traditional garb for the character, it's basically a dress. Give him an actual dress and he passes as a woman. While at the time seen as a skill anyone could possess, archery, since its revival as a sport in the 1800s in England, has been considered a sport primarily for women. So modern audiences would be even less inclined to see it as a particularly manly skill. During the battle in his movie On the Other Paw, Robin doesn't even have a "get behind me" moment. He and Marion fight side by side. Male characters are even allowed to fight for their loves when it makes no sense. In The Lion King, Nala stands aside as Simba fights Scar, even though she spent her whole life hunting and knows full well that Simba has zero fighting experience. Instead, she lets the boys fight to decide her fate. Further down the food chain, Timon and Pumbaa seem to have a good thing going, but until Disney makes the relationship canon, we can't really consider them a romantic couple. Even if they did cohabitate for years and raise a child together, make jokes about gay culture, and Timon is clearly Nathan Lane from The Birdcage. Our Todd and Vixen don't just vary from the usual literary fare in body, but also in mind. Aside from a brief interlude where she fights armed soldiers with nothing but pies, Marion takes action within her sphere as a highborn lady. She's not a warrior, she's a noble, and influencing royalty is her raison d'etre. When she intercedes with Prince John to spare Robin, Robin completely believes she saved him. In reality, it was Prince John's desire to not get stabbed. But hey, Robin didn't know that. Contrast Robin against another furry heartthrob, Beast from Disney's Beauty and the Beast. Robin might be a commoner, but he knows how to behave around people. Beast slams his entire face into bowls of porridge. For all the dangers he's faced with, Robin never gets angry in the film, aside from a moment of patriotic outrage.
That crown belongs to King Richard. Long live King Richard!
Long live King Richard!
Beast, meanwhile, frequently loses his temper to the point that Belle fears for her safety. Robin initiates his relationship with friendship. Beast initiates his relationship with a prisoner exchange. Robin might be overconfident, but he's already who he wanted to be. Beast had given up on being anything but a monster until a woman stopped by to fix him. In short, Beast is that dude it isn't your job to fix. While we're on the topic of social expectations for guys, let's pause and ask, why is this line funny?
Well, usually the hero gives his fair lady a kiss.
Kiss? Oh, that's sissy stuff.
In a society where being straight is assumed to be the norm, guys being kissed by girls should be manly, right? Like, really manly? You're asking the wrong guy. And yet, this line isn't funny because it's absurd, it's funny because it's something a real 7-year-old boy might say. After all, kissing is an expression of emotions, and boys don't cry. Emotions are for girls. But the film only gives this attitude to a young boy. Robin, a grown man we're meant to admire, constantly revels in sissy stuff. He can't shut up about how much he loves
Marion.
for years on end. We, as the audience, are likewise supposed to grow out of our discomfort with emotion and embrace sissy stuff by the time we're ready for relationships. Adulthood is another topic the film touches on. In the world of Robin Hood, adult relationships are the realm of adults, and real adults, the movie shows, have their own stuff going. Marion and Robin have lives before the story starts. Both have bigger problems than does he or she still like me. They're trying to better the kingdom and help people. They don't hook up so their stories can start. They join forces because their love and friendship means they're better together, because their skills and temperaments complement each other. Their love is not written in the stars, it's written in years of companionship. By having our mains differ from what we'd expect conventional masculinity and femininity, the film teaches that not fitting in perfectly with your gender role doesn't disqualify you from love. What's more, since neither of them wears the pants, or indeed any pants, in the relationship, kids learn that relationships don't need a man and a woman to function. We have pairings like this to thank for a drop-off in aunts asking their lesbian nieces if they or their girlfriend is the man in a relationship. All things told, Robin and Marion have a relationship based on genuine, mutual respect. By showing this film to young people, you're not just making them furries, you're making them better able to deal with matters of the heart.
Well, folks, that's the way it really happened.
Let us know down in the comments what you think. Shout out again to Tempe O'Kun for writing this week's episode of Culturally Effed. Check out links to his books for sale down in the description, and some other videos he's written and helped us produce here at Culturally Effed. I've been your host, Arrkay. Thanks for watching.
Hi there, I'm Rusty Shackelford, and wasn't that episode great? It made us so much money. For just $1 a minute, you can be on the phone with me, Rusty Shackelford. Call the number on the screen. Subscribe over at patreon.com/culturallyeffed, and you'll receive a personalized video of me saying anything you want me to say. I might even call you. We also have a newsletter you can sign up to for more updates. We also have a merch store. So subscribe to Culturally Effed for more of the video you just watched. Thank you for being beautiful.